How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Wizard101 Rant Tavern, the video where I get to discuss about various topics in Wizard101 and we just have a discussion about it. And one of the things I want to talk about, we're talking about the new pack again, the Ferryman Pack. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because there's a lot of interesting things that comes from the pack itself, a lot of discussion to be had about the state of Wizard101 in terms of the lack of a better term, pay to win concept. And it's no argument that Wizard101 is indeed pay to win in terms of the competitive scene. There, in my opinion, is no such thing as a pay to win PvE. The reason why I don't think it's such a thing as pay to win PvE is because PvE at the end of the day is still very casual. There's really not like a competition you have for PvE. If you want to go hardcore, you can, and you don't necessarily have as much consequences compared to if you were to do the competitive scene, which is PvP. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the potential of a pity system that could be coming towards Wizard101 packs, which I think is pretty cool. And from the looks of it, you know, you spend 10 packs, get a free pack. You eventually get it to where you get the max reward of a exclusive mount specifically from the Crowns Rewards event. Now, this overall equates to spending 10 packs to get a free pack. So again, if you divide this by the 10 packs here, it's the same amount that you'll get in the same price. The biggest thing is the exclusive mount that you get from paying 40k crowns. So the idea of this is the potential chance of adding a pity system for Wizard101's packs, which I think is really cool. Because unfortunately, I hate to burst your bubble, but this is going to be a staple that's going to be happening in many packs. More than likely, what this is going to be is that KingsIsle is going to be testing the waters, see how people react and how they essentially purchase specific packs with very interesting Crowns rewards, in this case being this exclusive mount right here. See how well it does, and they might do it more often in the future. And this is probably something that's going to be happening very consistently depending on how popular it is. And I feel like this is something that we definitely have to discuss for sure. And while unfortunately there's no way to kind of stop this from happening, really you can say striking all you want, but unfortunately that's just not really going to do anything. What you can do, however, is, you know, you can talk about your grievances, share your opinions about specific things, and, you know, share that opinions with like developers, and hopefully they can communicate well with the heads, especially the marketing team, about having potential changes that could be very beneficial for the competitive scene of Wizard101. Because unfortunately, like I said before, pay to win isn't really a thing for casual PvP, casual like players like PvE, because again, it's casual. When you decide to not rank specific, you know, pets or like crowns gear, to make it seem like you're playing very original base Wizard101, then you don't really get as much consequences for it. I mean, you'll lose some stats, but like it's not very consequential, because at the end of the day, you're still doing casual gameplay. When it comes to the competitive scene, one can argue that, hey, you don't need this gear to compete in PvP, and technically you don't. However, in the competitive scene, you're missing out on some stats that can dictate your wins and losses in the long run. Now, you could be very skilled and they may not affect you as much. However, as you can see from many people within the competitive scene, they always tend to rock some sort of like Kroger Jewel, some crown set bonus, maybe the Moldar's robe, because it's the meta. It's something that you need because it is something that is going to give you stats that farmable ways just probably won't. And I'm a victim of this too. I think like literally 99, if not all of the percent in the PvP community rocks some sort of pay to win gear, because it's necessary in terms of trying to improve on stats that you tend to lack. For the Moldar's robe, Myth tends to have a very big lack of health. So what do? Rock a Moldar's robe and have a pet to where you can essentially get back the accuracy that you lose from not rocking Dragoon's robe, and you can socket the Delance Jewel for making up for the lack of power-up chance to still keep your perfect stats. So essentially, already you're using like 2 pay-to-win items. You can add a third one if you decide going for the Filosaur and the mount that goes with it to get the stat bonus of extra damage. So in this case, you know, you'll get like 6% extra damage for Myth Wizards, which you could actually use this to complete something that you're lacking in PvP. Now, we have it for like my second set, which is going to be with the new pack. You know, you'll have it where it's the same thing. You know, I rock Tartarus because Tartarus for some reason gives a Sharon set again. And when you look at it, look at the stats, you know, you'll get that 111 damage. Pretty good stats all around. And you get the extra Pierce. Now, it's not a lot of Pierce, but again, it is extra Pierce. It's something to where you're getting something more that a person who doesn't rock it would get, which could be a problem in the competitive scene, because it can make a major difference in the long run between winning and losing matches, because you either have the stats or you don't have the stats. They kind of did this with like a stat cap for damage and resist, which I think was pretty cool. However, set bonuses still, and some pay-to-win gear are still something that is going to be common in the future that will negatively affect the competitive scene. And the way to combat this is have more farming options for a variety of different set bonuses. They have added set bonuses for specific gear other than Dragoons, like in Crocotopia. Again, it's not really for competitive scenes, it's mainly like a PvE thing, and even then it's not as good. But I would like to see more set bonuses that are similar to ones you get from premium packs. However, it does require you to farm for it. Obviously, I will also want the farming to be better as well. You know, if it requires me to craft, then have it to where if I get like worse pieces of gear, like in Dragoons, I can, you know, break it down to make reagents to give myself more potential chances of making the process of getting that specific gear set faster. And you can also add the bonus where, you know, premium items will give set bonuses as well that have fairly decent gear, that you can have it to where set bonuses to get for a specific item is faster, which would be the preferred way. Now, in terms of the pity system, well, you can have it to where this 40k instead could be a little bit lower. If you're gonna have it to where it's like a random chance to get a very specific, like ultra rare or like a epic, you know, quality drop, like the mounts for example, you know, you can lower it down to like maybe 25k for a pity. But what if we can lower it down towards 30k and we get to choose what mount we want from a specific set? That way we get the chance to get, you know, what we need, but still, you know, spend a decent amount. So it essentially gives more incentive for people to spend more money on packs and stuff. But also, I would like more farming incentives. Again, I'm speaking more in terms of the premium because we all know, or you guys should already know my opinions on this stuff. I would prefer more farming options. Generally, I would prefer that we don't have stat bonuses, but I can see why we have them. But in terms of just the premium versions of set bonuses, I would prefer that we have a farming alternative. That's what I always say about Spellements. That's what I will say about gear itself as well. Overall, you will be seeing the trend that this is going to be very common in the near future. The best we can do about this is, you know, we discuss our opinions with developers, and keep in mind, developers can only do so much. This is a team-oriented thing. So a lot of people tend to attack developers when it comes towards, you know, a lot of changes that tends to affect the competitive scene in a negative way, like set bonuses. And instead of just lashing out on devs, because it's like the retail situation where whenever something bad happens at the retail store, they blame the employees because they're like the face of the store. It's the same thing when it comes towards updates in Wiz. You know, people tend to blame the devs because they're like the face of the game. When in reality, it could be like a leadership thing. It could be marketing. you know, everyone tends to have differing opinions. Devs probably believe the same way that we do. Sometimes they tend to believe a little different, but they do bring interesting elements in the game. However, maybe marketing or someone higher up disagrees, and unfortunately they do have to listen. So that's just how it is. So instead of just kind of like attacking developers for a lot of changes that could negatively affect PvP, like set bonuses and pay to win gear, you know, we should discuss with them about our opinions on, you know, this stuff. You know, maybe talking about some, you know, farming alternatives that don't have to require us to spend money, but also have it to where these set bonuses are going to be very minimal. They're not going to have it to where they completely break the game. I mean, in a way, they kind of did this with the, you know, resist and damage camps. Now, obviously, they raised the damage cap. However, they have made a really good attempt in limiting the amount of stats that you can get for PvP with those new caps. So that's my preferred way of going about this whole thing. However, guys, I'll be leaving it at that. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this Rant Tavern video. Once again, if you have some opinions or maybe have some disagreements, leave it in the comments below. I would love to talk with you. I would love to have everyone just interact with each other to discuss their opinions about this sort of thing. But as always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and always remember to stay frenzy. Peace.